It is with immense pleasure and honor that I extend a warm welcome to each one of you at this ICSSR sponsored 2 days national seminar on transforming education and empowering entrepreneurs. NEP 2020 Impact on Vocational and Conventional Learning in India. This significant event is organized by Department of Commerce, Hindisip, Banwarilal Balotia College, Asansol, in collaboration with Entrepreneur Development Cell, Swavlamban, under the aegis of ICSSR College. The landscape of education in our country is undergoing a transformative phase, and the National Education Policy 2020 stands as a cornerstone in this evolution. Today, as we gather here to deliberate on the profound impact of NEP 2020 on both vocational and conventional learning in India, we are privileged to have here distinguished personalities who have devoted their expertise to the realms of education, management, and entrepreneurship. I would like to extend a warm welcome to Dr. Niranjan Rai, Associate Professor and Head, Department of Management Studies, Institute of Leadership, Entrepreneurship and Development, Kolkata, who is here with us. I would further like to welcome Dr. Professor Saikat Mitra and Ms. Sangeeta Sen, who is on their way and they will reach this seminar soon. And last but not the least, I welcome our esteemed principal sir, whose constant effort, moral support, and guidance see the program light of the day. As we embark on these 2 days of intellectual discourse, let us seize this opportunity to explore the intricacies, nuances of NEP 2020 and its implication on India's educational landscape and entrepreneurial ecosystem. I encourage each participant to actively engage in the discussion, share your insight, and collectively contribute to the enriching tapestry of knowledge that will unfold during this seminar. Once again, a heartfelt welcome to all, and I wish you a fruitful deliberation and a memorable academic experience. I would like to invite Shalini Yogi ma'am on the podium. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your presence. Thank you. We shall now start the program by lighting of the lamp, and I would also like to call on dais Dr. Amalendu Samanto, the convener of the program. Sir, please.
Sharat, just get accepted.
अमलेंदु हाँ यहाँ से ठीक है अभी ठीक है अभी आ जाएगा almost reaching the college. We shall start with the felicitation. I would request to please begin with the felicitation process. May I request Dr. Amalendu Samanto to felicitate our principal, sir. Sir, please. Can we have a round of applause? Thank you so much. Now we shall felicitate our special guest, Dr. Niranjan Rai, and may I request our principal, sir, to please felicitate him. Thank you, sir. Whilst the dignitaries are on the way, I shall definitely like to put some light on this seminar that is being organized today. As we all know that this seminar is conducted by ICSSR sponsor, and as is very much evident that this is on transforming education and empowering entrepreneurs, National Education Policy 2020's impact on the vocational and conventional learning in India. Now, the main objectives of the seminar would be multifaceted exploration of the new Education Policy 2020 and the interconnection in education and entrepreneurship. Secondly, it would try to bring forth to the audience of researchers and potential entrepreneurs the significance of entrepreneurship in the sustainable economic development of the nation. Also, this seminar would like to embark on a comprehensive exploration of how innovations within higher and vocational education would contribute to the development of entrepreneurship competency, instilling enterprising behavior, and thereby enhancing employability. Also, this seminar would like to promote sharing of good practices, inculcate new perspectives of communication, and latest technological development in the field of entrepreneurship. Additionally, it would facilitate the spirit of entrepreneurship and nurture latest ideas on finance, capital, business models, marketing techniques, innovation, social, and environmental responsibility. Provide comprehensive ideas for the upcoming enterprises with the help of special involvement of policymakers in sessions. Having said all that, since we have students as our audience, I would request when the sessions are on, be it the special sessions, the keynote sessions, or the technical sessions, to interact as much as possible. The main idea behind this seminar is to have interaction with the students. This new education policy has been made for this generation, for this youth, and hence we want active participation from your end. It should not be that the speakers are definitely sharing their insightful thoughts, but we would also want something in return from our very own students. Once it's interactive, we can understand that yes, the seminar has been a success. And since the main motto is developing the consciousness of the new education policy in today's young minds, it would be excellent to have you on board, which we can see that, but we also want active participation from your end. Having to continue with this, I would also like to say that the seminar, it will not only identify and address the entrepreneurs in India, their development, but also ultimately propose effective solutions to these challenges. We have Department of Commerce with us, we have Department of Economics, Geography, and History as well, I suppose. So it will be more like a holistic approach to how these challenges can be sought and fought for, how new technical solutions can be brought about towards the development of certain policies in India. Also, by the end of the seminar, of the 2-day seminar that you are aware of, we aim to recommend or address the integration of entrepreneurs' skills into both vocational training and also the conventional higher education. Just as I told that we have participants including students, we have educators amongst us, we have entrepreneurs, we also have other stakeholders who are deeply invested in this entrepreneurship focused education. They will also share their invaluable insights, of course, which is why we are here. The seminar will also provide a unique opportunity for all educators, policymakers, entrepreneurs, and subject matter experts to converge in a forum where they can collectively shape the future of India's higher education. That is what exactly we have gathered, all of us, we are present here, so as to put forward the concepts or the innovations in the new education policy, and so that everything about this policy, how this can go ahead in India, that can be deeply and actively understood by the students present over here. I hope the students here, they have got an idea about how we shall proceed and what outcomes you shall receive from here. We shall wait for a while till the dignitaries are here.
We have professors coming from IIM, Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta, and we also have another expert who happens to be an entrepreneur, Shongita Sen, and Professor Shulkar Munchu from IIM Calcutta. We would just wait patiently for their arrival and wait till they actually provide their valuable insights onto us.
Before that, I want to say just one thing. Actually, this is here it is written that it is seminar, but actually we want to conduct this session right now as a workshop. Okay, it is a one type of workshop and rather focusing on getting delegates or faculties from the other institution. We want that our students should interact with the resource person and the person from the industry. Most of the students attending this workshop are from our industry. So the students are liberty to ask questions in their own language also, because in our national education policy.
Yes.
We welcome the presence of Dr. Shulkar Munchu. Thank you, sir. And also Ms. Shongita Sen. Ma'am, please come to us. Now we can begin with the lamp-ing of the light. So I would request all our dignitaries, please come and light the lamp and begin the program.
Sandy, सामने से. একটা জিও ট্যাগ তুলে শান্তনু জিও ট্যাগ
Please continue with your writing. Thank you. Thank you for all. Thank you to all the dignitaries. I will request them to kindly take their seat. Now may I please request Mr. Arif Kandar to felicitate Dr. Shulkar Munchu. So please. Thank you, sir. May I please request Ms. Shoroj Mahato to kindly felicitate Ms. Shongita Sen. Round of applause. Thank you so much. May I please now request Dr. Amitav Basu, our principal, to please kindly come up and address to the audience.
Very good morning to all of you. Today, We have organized one seminar, uh, transforming our Indian higher education system in the light of National Education Policy 2020. At first, on behalf of the Banwadi and Baladia for Association, I heartily welcome Professor Shadwat Mitro, IIM Kolkata. Thank you very much, sir, for coming on the way from Kolkata in our college and to grace our workshop and some seminar. I want to heartily welcome Professor Nilanjan Roy, Associate Professor Management Institute. I want to welcome Sangeeta Sen, also entrepreneur. Thank you very much, all of you, for coming here. Today, our main objective was seminar. Just I have told and in the interaction with our student that our focus is to encourage our student to uh, start their startup or giving some knowledge about the entrepreneurship. This is our main focus. So even at the time of granting the fund from the ICCR also, they have also advised us to direct our workshop in such a fashion so that the most of the students should benefit from that seminar. We all know that after a gap of 34 years, we have come with another new education policy. The last education policy in our country in 1986. Again, this education policy in AP 2020, so it's a gap of 34 years. And after long deliberation, suggestion from all stakeholders, and more than one lakh suggestion, finally become came with a national education policy and huge recommendations are there. Now, the most important thing and most challenging terms in front of higher education and also in case of the school education also, to implementation of that education policy. Because there are some recommendations what we are going to discuss in the coming sessions in our workshop, that how we can integrate and mainstreaming the vocational education with our general education. In the National Education Policy, it has been recommended that from the class 6, they want to give exposure to our student of the vocational education, and gradually 6, 7, 8, after that 9, 10, and again in the 11, 12, and in our college level, university level also. And it has been, the suggestion is that by the year 2025, our target is to give exposure near about 50% of our enrolled students to the vocational education. So that's why I am telling it is really a challenging task to implement such type of things in our higher education institution also. We know that we are running our colleges and as the students and the faculty members, they have also experienced that the most challenging thing is that in our new education policy, what we are running our academic calendar, always our academic calendar is running behind our due academic our time. Usually our odd semester start from 1st July to 31st December, and even semester start from 1st January to 30th June. But we all know that most of the time our first semester usually start from September because admission process extended up to 30th August or more than sometime first week of September also. So it is very difficult to maintain the academic calendar also. But if we want to successfully implement the national education policy, we have to follow the semester system and the academic calendar very effectively. Because in the recommendation that after 90 days of the teaching days, after 90 days of teaching days, we have a intensive program for our students. We have a summer internship. There may be extra classes or backup classes for our students, those who have a backlog. So, if we want to implement such things, so we have to follow our academic calendar into. But what we are witnessing most of the time that our first semester started instead of July, it has already started in first September. So it is very difficult to follow the academic calendar, publication of result in time, and as it is recommended in our new education policy, the multiple entry and multiple exit. So if any student after completion of the second semester, that is first year, if you want to exit from the system, they will allow to exit with a UG certification, but subject to one condition is that if you want to get the UG certification after completion of 1 year, that means 2 semesters, you have to complete one vocational course related to your subject. So, for this, we have to complete our term and exam in due course, and also the publication result in due course. So it is a very challenging thing. At the same time, there is a recommendation of exposure to the vocational education in summer internship, case studies, projects, how we will implement in our higher education, how we can set up a linkage with the academia, with the industry. So these all have to, we have to need the clear guideline from our government also, whether the government will direct to the industry that they have to set the linkage with the academia as a part of their CSR activities also, because we have an experience that our general education, we suppose we send our student for the internship. We sent our student for the internship for the earlier we had sent our student for the internship purpose to the big bazaar also. The students complain that they are not guiding their only work to even they engage in the iron of their garments also. So this type of internship is going on. So how we will going to implement such type of internships and project work in our colleges? It is a very difficult for us. And one thing, uh, this is the most important thing. We all know that India, we have a positive demography. But if we want to reap the benefit of a positive demography, the most important thing to we need a skilled workforce. As per our report, that only 4% of our workforce are the skilled workforce, and 96% of our workforce are unskilled workforce, and most of our workforce are engaged in the unorganized sector. So this is the objective of our government or the education regulatory bodies to reorient and reshape our higher education system in the light of globalized education, to make it more relevant and career oriented. We are trying to enhance the skill of our students. At the same time, they try to keep the quality of our education also. We all know right now we are living in a knowledge-based, technology-driven society. So we have to skill ourselves. Otherwise, we cannot sustain ourselves. So we have. I want to congratulate our DB College Hindi Shift Commerce Department. Just within 4 years, they have doing wonderful job. We have already published 3 volume of our journal, edited volume Brain Bloomers, and they are organizing this type of seminar also. Earlier, few months back, we have also organized one seminar on entrepreneurship. So this is they have opened a sale that is for the Savalamban. Here, our objective to give exposure our student with the industry person. At the same time, we try to guide our students regarding the self-employment generate also. So they are doing very good work, and we have a move with the Global Link initiative. The Global Link initiative, they are also being platform to our students for doing this. So it is very effective and good work. We all know that right now it is not possible for our government to provide the government jobs or at the end of their graduation. So it is very important to make our students to market ready, to enhance their skills and at the same time encourage them to their for the entrepreneurship also. To give them suggestion, to give them advice to the startup also. Right now, the Sabalamban we want to do as a incubator, incubation center in BB College. We have a Sabalamban for encouraging our students and the local entrepreneur also. So we want to take help from our industry person, from the academicians to open a innovation and incubation center in our college. We may give name to our college that Savalamban Innovation and Incubation Center, BB College, Savalamban Innovation and Incubation Center. Now, what is incubation center or incubator? For our students, let's just give a very common example. You know, when a baby was born, newborn baby, if the baby is immature and is not well enough, suppose he is underweight or if he or she has any problem, the such newborn baby put in incubator. You want to know about this incubator? So giving the all the support. Similarly, our startup is like just like a newborn baby. So it is not equipped enough to fight with the existing business bodies. So it is very important to give support uh, to the startup. And you will all know if we have some ideas, the idea is very important. But most important thing, how we implement such idea or you materialize such idea. So if you have any ideas, last time we have interaction with our students, with the industry person. They already offered our student. If you have any idea, you come up with idea. If you have any planning, how you can materialize. So we will support them. We will support them, and also support with the funding support also to start their new startup. So you all know the idea is very important, but most important thing how you could materialize your ideas. You suppose you have ideas. After that, you make a plan how to materializing. A lot of things are there in our incubation center. Your teachers, industry person are there. They will help you how we go with the financing, how we make a strategy or marketing aspect. Even we have a workshop with our student to create their logo, create their brand, how to create a brand also, how to maintain the customer relationship also. You all know it is most important in the maintaining customer relationship. And most important thing, whenever you want to do any startup, you have any idea, always remember that you are going to solve some problem. Because what is existing things, you try to come with a solution. You know, you just we all are using our mobile phone. You just imagine, just take every 2 years gap. You just see the evolution of our mobile phone. In the year 2005, when we used mobile, that time we only used mobile for the purpose of receiving call and uh, uh, for use sending message also. So right now, mobile replaces so many things. Even mobile replace our computer also. Mobile replace our stopwatch, clock. We can maintain diary, which replace everything. So this is the updating of the existing product. Not always it is important that you come with a new solution, but it is very important to survive that you update your product, update your service also. So this is the most important thing, how you give service, how you give your satisfaction to the customer. Because you have some ideas. Whenever as a creator, in our new education policy, they are giving emphasis on from shifting from textbook or word memories to increase the critical thinking and creativity of our students. So whenever you create something, you according to you that you think that it is a unique thing, but it is most important thing. You should go to the people, go to the customer, and get feedback from them. How they will accept this. This is the most important thing, because whenever any movie maker, any music director, they create any music or movie, they think that is a unique thing what I have created. But most important thing, how the people get feedback on that. This is the most important thing. Or most important thing in the entrepreneurship, always remember that you are providing service. As a student, or the most of the students are from the commerce background, so you know the profit is not the sole motive. Whenever you start anything as a profit making purpose, that will not sustain. So whenever you go into provide service to the customer, then you will sustain. So we know that medical, so many nursing are opening. But if we have a negative feedback from the customer that these medical provider, service provider, they are providing good medical service, but at the same time, their sole motive is the maintaining profit. That type of negative feedback can spoil the business reputation also. And always remember that one dissatisfied customer can take away more than 100 customer of your on 100 potential customer also. So it is very important to give service, give solution to your society, and that will give your sustainability also. And at the outset, why we are going to discuss all these things, because just few days back, that one report published in our parliament also, the diaspora report also, that Jaishankar, our Prime Minister, published one report that 17 lakh Indian, they shifted or got the citizenship in outside India. It is a pride they are publishing this data, because it is a pride movement for our country also, because we celebrate one day for our diaspora also on 9th January. They give special facility also, because on the motive that they will give, they are treated as a NRI, and they will invest foreign money or foreign currency in our country also. But at the same time, just few days back, one movie released, that is the Donkey. When our engineer, IT personnel, our doctors, they are established in our foreign country. At the same time, there are so many persons just for earning few money. They are taking the illegal route to leave our country. So this data is also there. So, and at the same time, one discussion or debate going on about the name of our also, that one country, one name, Bharat, India. And we always think that it seems that we are living in two countries. One, in the one hand, we are living in India, signing India, another country is the Bharat. So, where we are publishing the data of the diaspora, at the same time, we are seeing the movie like the country. So we have to strike a balance between the thing. We need such policy that can create balance and prosper our country. And I hope that in the coming today you will enjoy the session, and you will be immensely benefited from after hearing from our enlightened resource persons and the industry person also. And one thing, just I have told, it is a workshop nature. Our main objective to enlighten or give suggestion to our students. So you are free enough to ask questions. It is very important to interact in the coming session also. So you ask question in your mother tongue also. In our national education policy, this time they giving emphasis on our national mother tongue also, because we always say that China, Japan, they are getting education in their mother tongue, but they are doing so well. So this time on in national education policy also, along with the English, they are giving emphasis also mother tongue also. So with this, I hope that it will be a great workshop for all of us. And at the end, again, I want to thank all our resource persons for coming here, and all the delegates from the other colleges. I want to thank them also, the students, and the organizer, our organizing committee, all the members of our organizing committee. I want to thank all of them. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for always being so insightful and sharing your invaluable thought. We shall now have with us Dr. Shoikat Moitro as our chief guest for delivering his keynote address. But before we begin with his address, Dr. Moitro is presently an assistant professor of public policy and management group at the highly prestigious Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta. Dr. Moncho has done his PhD from the Department of Anthropology, University of Texas, Austin, USA. He was also a postdoctoral fellow at the Center for Modern Indian Studies and the University of Göttingen, Germany, funded by the Transnational Research Group and the German Historical Institute, London. He was also the instructor at the Center for Modern Indian Studies and the University of Göttingen, Germany, in the fall of 2016, in the Department of Anthropology, University of Texas, in the summer of 2014. He has been the co-investigator for several internationally funded projects, the latest of which is a 36-month international research grant on gender journeys, the trajectories of STEM students and graduates through higher education and employment in multiple global south contexts in 2023. He has received several university graduate fellowships and scholarships, few of which include the ones from the University of Texas, University of Western Ontario, and many more. Dr. Moncho has contributed over 50 research papers in reputed national, international, peer-reviewed journals proceedings. He has delivered a multitude of invited lectures, both at the national and international level, be it Jadavpur University, Kolkata, or the University of Göttingen, Germany, and the University of Texas, Austin. He is a member of the American Anthropological Association, Comparative and International Education Society, and the guest editor in the very reputed Economic and Political Weekly Journal. We are extremely fortunate that we have with us Dr. Moncho. May I please request Dr. Moncho to deliver the keynote address. So please. Please welcome him with a warm round of applause.
Thank you so much, and thank you for such a very, very effusive introduction. Now I feel really slightly anxious. I hope I can live up to the perhaps expectations. Uh, it is really a matter of, and I really say this from the bottom of my heart. It's a matter of great honor for me, and I always look forward to these opportunities to go beyond just our own academic institutions and share our thoughts, our ideas, whatever little knowledge that we are very privileged to possess with other institutions, including today I am here to address all of you. I will actually, take this opportunity more as an interactive session. I mean, not just as a lecture where I just go on talking for 1 hour or something like that. But I would really also want to have a little bit of time to hear what the students have in mind. I'm really extremely curious about what students today, and I graduated a long time back, so I'm very curious to know what students today are thinking in terms of their future, in terms of their, what they see as a meaningful and productive life for themselves, particularly once they go out of this safety net to the very nice sheltered environment of the colleges and universities and step out into the, let's say, the real world. I mean, of course, this is part of the real world, but the world outside is sometimes a bit less, I mean, safe and comforting as the one when we are in college and classrooms. So while I'm just waiting for, some of the PowerPoints, and this is a bad, in my opinion, bad teaching practice, but which I also follow, that we are too reliant on PowerPoints. I mean, not too much improvisation is possible when you have PowerPoints. They kind of act as a nice guideline, no doubt, and helps professors who are getting older like me to keep within a more or less time schedule. But definitely, I would expect a lot of free flowing conversations. I would like to keep at least 10 to 15 minutes towards the end of my talk. And of course, you are also welcome to jump in and raise your hands and if you have a question or comment that you'd like to bring up. Now, my very, very esteemed previous speaker already talked about 2 points, and I would just like to, start with that and segue into my own, whatever keynote or maybe thoughts by just going back to some of the things that was mentioned. And the two very important things that I'd like to bring up is this notion, firstly, of skill, and secondly, this very strange statistics. It has been, ratified several times in various surveys and done by the Ministries of Labor and now Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship about the fact that only, and this is quite jarring actually if you think about it, only about 2 to 4, I mean sometimes estimates vary. The lower limit would be 2, upper limit would be not more than 4. Sometimes if you really stretch it, it might be 8%. So only about a very small percentage of the Indian labor force being actually skilled. Again and again, this has come up in various government data. What does that mean? It of course does not mean that let's say the rest, the 95%, 98% of the Indian workers, basically labor force, I mean engaged in various kinds of activities and forms of work, that they do not possess a skill. That is not the case. They definitely possess, I mean, even to do the most basic task, you need to have some skill. Even to take a good selfie, you need a lot of skill, as I'm sure all of you know, right? Teaching, of course, requires enormous amounts of skill, having holding the attention of the students, as my academic colleagues would know definitely. What this statistics highlights is the fact that very few people, particularly workers, actually possess any certification which shows that they have received some form of formal skill training. This has enormous implications when a person does not have a piece of paper. Suppose all of you who will be graduating and then you are given a BA degree or a BCom degree, some degree. What is the value of that degree? When you go to the job market, to the labor market, you appear for an interview. The first thing that any interviewer would like to see is your certificate. Even before asking any questions. You know that always we need to send our certificates and they will correspondingly decide whether you are appropriate enough to be even interviewed on. If you don't have those pieces of paper, nobody would be most likely interested in interviewing. So having the certification has enormous consequences for your future development and as it is very well evident in deciding your wage levels. Without the BA certificate or the BCom certificate, you might have a fantastic knowledge, grasp of let's say accountants. Maybe you self-learn. You were reading and learning at home, and you did not care for getting the college certification. But even though you might have great skill and knowledge in terms of your accountancy skills, you will not really be able to enter the labor market. You will not most likely get a formal wage employment. This is a very important point because a vast section of the Indian labor force who do not possess this certification get stuck at the bottom of this very informal, low-paid, often very unproductive forms of labor, particularly because of this problem of a lack of certification of this particular concept that has really come to the forefront of the Indian government, which is skill. Skill is a word which has really come into being. We all know about skill. What would be the corresponding Bengali or Hindi term for this? Anyone? Students? Yes. Dokkhota, very good. Anything else? Any other term that you might think? Skill কি আর কিভাবে বলা যেতে পারে? Expertise. Anything else? যোগ্যতা? Yes. Anything else? Any other term that you can think of? Yes. Okay. So, Hunar, lots of terms that might be used for this category of skill. Skill, if you think about it, is a rather complex term in some ways because it can be applicable to so many things. Somebody, I'm sure there will be somebody here, very skilled cricketer, does not play cricket professionally, but everybody knows this person is a very skilled sports person. Somebody is a very skilled user of, knows how to take selfies very skillfully and then post them. There are so many people who are posting constantly. Skill can also mean somebody who is engaged in making something very intricate, such as the Banarasi sign, the handicrafts industry. Skill can also mean somebody who is extremely good as a theatre artist, a skilled actor, a skilled musician, also a skilled worker who is working on the factory floor. Skill, therefore, has multiple applications, and sometimes this makes it very difficult to understand what really skill is. At a very basic level, we start with the definition that skill has to do something with an expertise in a particular domain, in a particular field. However, for our present purposes and the kind of public policy thinking about skill which is coming up today, more and more skill is seen as a quantifiable resource, something that maybe a government or a company or a corporate organization or an NGO, very like in these days, or an educational institution. For our purposes, the most important thing that I will come to say is going to invest on and develop so that, let's say you spend 1 lakh rupees developing the skill set of a particular individual, male or female, and that particular quantity, which is quantifiable, would then be recovered because with that inherent skill, the person is now going to be able to earn more and then become a more productive member of the society. Without skill, what essentially, and this is a very sad picture of India today, most people more or less languish in this category called the unskilled labor sector. Very low, mostly physical labor. Person is not really seen as being fit to do anything, and therefore kind of it's stuck at the bottom of the labor pool. Very low wages, extremely difficult forms of work, conditions are very bad. Maybe person does not survive for too long. Often it is physically too difficult. As you learn and become more and more expert in a field, as your skill set, skill levels go up, you start earning more gradually. Hence, the need to actually develop skills. For our purpose today, and you can of course share share it with the students later on. I am actually focusing on two particular definitions. There can be multiple definitions of skill. One of them coming from a political economy perspective, and the other coming from human resource management perspective. The human resource management perspective is much more about what we might call a micro level understanding of skill. Skill as it applies to a particular organization, let's say a corporate company. Why should the corporate company invest in skill? The company should invest because skill is seen as an extremely important resource which is inimicable for the company. That is, once the company acquires the skilled labor force, it is unique to that company. No other company can have that resource without again going through the process of investing in skill. If Tata today invest in skill training of these workers in the steel plant, it will have an advantage over the corresponding company. Let's say the Jindals, till the Jindals also have to spend and more or less try to catch up. It is a vital resource for the company. But if skill is a vital resource for a company or a micro organization, it is also extremely good for, let's say, the nation as a whole, which is the macro or the more political economy view of skill, where skill is seen today as fundamentally tied to the economic development and economic sustenance of any society or any nation state in the world, including of. So, skill becoming absolutely critical, and hence you have all these big public policy debates today now on skill for more or less guaranteeing some kind of economic opportunity and development for any country, and India is no exception. To that extent, that this is a very peculiar thing that happened in 2014, entire ministry, and really this is critical, I mean, the importance is very critical to us. An entire ministry of skill development, Ministry of Skill Development and entrepreneurship came up. Before that, skill was seen to be part of different kinds of ministries, maybe labor ministry definitely, things like even the defense ministry, or sometimes ministry for family welfare, rural development. It was everywhere, present everywhere. But now it has been centralized and its importance is recognized in the sense that it requires a standalone ministry. This is within the Indian context the highest importance that one can give to any particular concept. Think of Ministry of External Affairs, think of Ministry of Petroleum, for instance, Home Affairs, so on and so forth. So it is as important as any of these older ideas. Moreover, skill today is becoming a critical element of what we call human capital development. Whether, and I would like to come back to this briefly later on also, whether we are talking about the entire population of the country, like in India, or we are talking about particular segments. A lot of emphasis today, for instance, is on women, for instance, women's development, empowerment and development. The way to do it, one of the most significant ways to do it would be through skill development. Because without skilling, economic development of women is extremely difficult to think of. Now, when I say this idea of human capital, it really also references a very strong relationship, but which has not always been very well explored, the relationship between skill and education. Education was always seen as a very critical part of human capital development. I mean, there's a lot of economic thinking, how people need to invest in education so as to be able to enter the labor market. And now, skill has come in to complement this earlier importance given to education. This is not to say that skill will replace education. Please don't take some kind of simplistic view of it. We need both the general, and in my opinion, the importance of general education is absolutely critical, but it has to be complemented and buttressed and enhanced through skill education. What does it do? Because without this skill education, what has often been the case in India in the last few years, it is really becoming a very difficult problem for the Indian state, is that general education is no longer guaranteeing, and I am afraid to sound this caution, it is not guaranteeing any economic future necessarily. Maybe 30, 40 years back, you have a degree from a good college or a good university. Chances are that you will be able to find the job very easily or without too much difficulty. But the labor market has completely changed in India. Changed globally, definitely. Changed in India also. Economic liberalization, free market, many other things have happened. I don't want to go too much into the sort of the political economic history of this, but very simply, and I hate to say this, but you need to be a bit anxious and frightened about this. Though I'm very glad that I'm no longer in college now. This is one of the big, very good things about being old. That I don't have to go through this problem of in college and have to worry about what am I going to do once I graduate from college. But the labor market, the job market is not very easy. Government jobs dwindling, almost same as winning a lottery. Years to be spent doing the tuitions, trying to prepare, maybe with hopefully with some positive result, but that also we don't know. Private sector jobs, nature of jobs are changing. I'm talking about mostly white collar jobs at the moment. Nature of jobs are changing. Now we also have a lot of jobs becoming contingent. They are not for life. One generation back, those who got jobs, many of us, government sector, we retiring with pension. Those are the dreams that are slowly going away or going away very quickly, not even very slow. What has come to replace that kind of more guaranteed, predictable future is a kind of often very precarious, contingent, dynamic, and changing job market situation. Where, for instance, we are now, a lot of people in management are talking about this. We are sitting on the cusp of the fourth industrial revolution, where things like machine learning, artificial intelligence are going to absolutely change whatever we knew to be a more kind of stable forms of education required for the job market, such as training in IT industries. Things will be completely different. I mean, whether for good or for bad, we don't know yet. Things will be very different. A lot of jobs in the IT industry, like testers, who test software, they would not require anyone actually working. The IT sector, amongst many other things, also services sector, like the financial sectors, they are going to be absolutely transformed once AI and machine learning comes in a big way. Because software will be becoming very cheap and you therefore do not need any person to be working for that. And the company is going to invest, at least most of the major companies are going to invest in technology and do away with the human resources. This is an unfortunate but also an unavoidable future that we are looking at. But if the future is slightly frightening, it also has various possibilities. So I do not want to just emphasize the bleakness or the difficulties. And one way to take advantage of the coming future is to be prepared for it and also be innovative. Innovation is really at the heart of the whole story here. Innovation in what ways? For instance, innovation also in thinking, not just for the individual, but at the public policy or the government level. Let's start for a moment with this document which my esteemed speaker before me also mentioned, the National Education Policy 2020. Now, West Bengal has also had its own public policy on education, which has just come into public domain recently. And what are some of the key features, the most innovative features? I mean, of course, we can agree, we can disagree, there are debates going on, but what are some of the key points of the National Education Policy of 22? I think at the heart of the national education policy and also to some extent the state level policy, for instance, in West Bengal, what lies at the heart of the national education policies is a vision of flexibility. A student now learning something, particularly since I'm talking in a degree college, the opportunity of talking in a degree college. In my generation, maybe one generation back, people who enroll are doing a honors in history. More or less, I'm going to concentrate on what I'm going to study. I might take, as many of my friends used to do, at the most I might take some additional courses in IT or software. Sometimes. That's about it. That was the degree of flexibility. I might want to become a teacher in history, and I'm talking about the humanities, because I was also a student of humanities, where job prospects were definitely much lower than commerce or science. And my generation was the one generation that anybody who went into engineering immediately got jobs in Infosys, late 1990s, early 2000s, immediately went abroad, got a green card, so things were good, and that picture has also changed. The IT industry is no longer this absolutely charming place to work in these days. But definitely, if we take the humanities, social science, where already job prospects were quite limited, what was the main thing that you became a teacher? Either a college teacher or a school teacher, or you tried for different kinds of government jobs. This is more or less the range. Or maybe you ended up being in the services sector selling something, but that was more because you could not get into anything else. That was the range of choice. When it came to wage employment. Today, however, even for a history graduate, and my dear friend Professor Sandeep Ray would be angry because he is a historian by training, not to be a history. Let's say in my case, I studied literature. So, for a literature graduate, while the choice might have become complicated in some ways, the choice can also become expanded. You have something like, let's say, content writing. If you are good, if you really have the skill set for writing, you can, and some of my friends have done very, very well in the domain of content writing. You also have people who were going into the opening media industry, particularly the new media industry from the early 2000s, and that was a new field which was opening up, which was not there before. So what I am trying to highlight here is that while at any point of time, certain range, certain choices of the job market become restricted, certain other opportunities also seem to be opening up. But you need to be open to the possibility of doing something new. BCom graduate at one point of time, when I was in college, made mostly one trajectory. You did completed your BCom, maybe sometimes people would go on to MCom and teaching profession, or the very dreaded chartered accountancy. See, dreaded because of course it is extremely difficult. I'm sure extremely difficult even now. The chartered or CAS or ICSSR. This was again the range of choice. And of course, one could do software or IT or something, but these were the main choices. Today, however, we can have some other choice. Let's say, for instance, in the domain of risk analysis, which was not something very well developed, or the opening up of things like the mutual funds. You can actually get into these new professions if you have the necessary skills. Now, what does the NEP 2020 tell us about acquiring these skill sets? As I said, it has flexibility built into the very heart of the policy. Flexibility in what ways? And I hope the students just listen to me for 1 minute here. If you are going to be only concerned about getting your BCom degree, most likely chances of getting a job will be very difficult. You will have to show some additional skills. Maybe you are fantastic in accountancy. The interviewer would assume that since you have studied BCom, of course your fundamental skills are very strong. Please don't take it that, okay, Sarah had told us we need to acquire something else, so accountancy, mathematics, and all these skills we don't need to learn. Absolutely not. In fact, nobody would even want to talk to you if you don't know your accountancy or costing skill very well. Definitely that is there. Fundamental knowledge will make or break your chances at the job market. But along with that, and that is exactly the pressure, knowing your own domain may not be enough. You need to go out and learn something new. Maybe through some kind of online program, which is really, I mean, the individual's, in prerogative in some ways, your responsibility. While studying BCom part time, you're also doing something. Let's say, I mean, I'm talking about this particular course called risk analysis because somebody in Goenka College in Kolkata was mentioned how they have started a joint program, short 6-month program with another university, science university in Kolkata, and they are offering this course. I mean, of course, it is voluntary. I mean, your BCom degree will not suffer because of this, but if you choose to do it, it is really going to add to your CV. You need to really design and make your CV stand out. Without that, very little possibility. Otherwise, the chances are year after year appearing mostly unsuccessfully for government jobs, which are going down in number. Secondly, what can a college like BB College here do for you as far as the national education policy is concerned? What it can do is basically it can take this concept and it is still being developed slowly, both nationally as well as in India and in West Bengal, the hubs of learning. What does it mean? It means that maybe BB College has the faculty member, resources, and knowledge base in certain domains. It has fantastic knowledge base in certain domains. But for instance, it may not have the right resource or the right faculty to teach you machine learning in the finance sector, which is absolutely critical in this stage. There is maybe another university or college nearby, possibly not too far away, where BB College can get into a kind of an informal or formal network where maybe faculty members from BB College teach an integrated course on machine learning, maybe a 6-month or 3-month course on machine learning in the finance sector, where some faculty members from College A, which has a more developed commerce faculty, offers accountancy skills. Another college maybe offers skills in certain kinds of predictability based on algorithms and artificial intelligence, and another college comes in to offer another kind of, let's say, marketing skill sets. So it can be a joint program on marketing artificial intelligence in the financial sector. And once the student learns this and shows that on the CV, this immediately adds a skill set, a vital skill set for you to enter into the job market. And multiple things, and that's what I'm saying, flexibility is so important here. How you think of technologies and how you can translate them into your own domain knowledge. Communication, for instance, absolutely critical now. I mean, for a long time, if I can say this, and slightly critical of my own institution, IIM Calcutta. For a very long time, communication was just, I mean, I come from a literature background, so I was always very dear friends with people who taught in the communication track. But we would always complain nobody takes communication serious. I mean, how you communicate. But now for an average management graduate, once they reach the mid-manager levels, the main task is making the sales pitch, making the presentation. A manager, and maybe an IIM graduate or an average management trained person, is not going to do the hard work of working on the software. The person is supposed to get the sales, do the marketing, which requires fantastic communication skills. You might have brilliant knowledge of machine learning, but you cannot address an audience like this, or your board members, or you cannot talk to your potential customers. No point. I mean, okay, maybe you sit in the back room and you can only be promoted up to a certain level, but not beyond that. And this is, we see this, I mean, a lot of writing in management about this, the problem of communication and particularly what we call soft skills. Incredible lack of communication and soft skills, even basic soft skill levels, where you're supposed to actually meet and greet the person that, at a professional context, where you're supposed to make eye contact. Simple things. I mean, what I'm saying is nothing very radical. But they make or break, and we are very honored to have an entrepreneur amongst us, a real life entrepreneur. And I hope you will hear more about this. Even very simple things, being polite to the customer. I cannot emphasize what difference it makes. We often tell our students, just to tell you a funny but real story, that one complaint that many IIM professors have is that just before the examination marks are due, grades are due, suddenly students are very, very respectful. Hello, sir, you have changed my life. I never thought public policy would be so interesting. Skill policies are so incredibly exciting, which they are not. I mean, reading through pages of government report is not very exciting, but they will come and tell you. And of course, I know that great. I mean, first 1 or 2 years when I started teaching, I was very pleasantly happy. But now I have learned better. Slowly, once examination grades are out, maybe 1 or 2 of them who have gotten an A plus the highest grade, they would still be quite nice. Particularly once you go down, maybe B plus, B minus, I would say hi, good morning, how are you? Person just walks by. And that is happened. And I am not the only one. Generally, I can still see a lot of students maybe still, read and talk to me. Some of the senior professors constantly me. What it means is that students are too transactional. Transactional in the sense that once you are there actually to serve a purpose, you see education only as a self-interested thing. Your main motivation is to get the grades. Once the grades are there, your sort of social relationship with your professor ends. And this is terrible because most IIM faculty members can really open doors for their students. We know people just phone call again, whether it's a very senior level IAS, IPS, whether it's an industry person, a phone call can open many doors. Same goes for any college, any university. If the faculty member who is your greatest mentor in life, you will never get, forget about even your parents. The greatest mentor that you will ever get in your life is your college teacher, not even school. But if you do not have a good working relationship, all of you here, you're all teachers here, right? Okay. If they want, they can really open doors. But you also need to, as students, you need to show that you are there to learn and really take advantage. You need it in a genuine way, not just in this transactional way. Okay. So, basic things about etiquette. One smile can open many doors, forget about many others. And you'll be surprised how effective it is at the highest level. Forget about maybe college or other things. At the highest corporate level, millions of dollars of contract. But one person is nice, other person not so nice. it makes enormous difference. Soft skill training. I don't know if a lot of colleges are trying to promote. I know a lot of vocational education institutions like the ITIs are specifically trying to develop soft skills. I would request the management here also to take this up very seriously. Often it is the case that maybe in the field of maybe commerce, you think how does communication, soft skills, etc., how are they important? You really need to know your accountancy very well. But it opens doors. So you need to think outside of the box and try to learn certain skill sets which are essentially industry relevant. Otherwise, and again, I don't want to be frightening you, you will be wiped out. Maybe your desire is not to be economically productive. That is fine. Then, of course, it doesn't matter. But if you want to be economically viable, have an economic future, you have to be innovative and actually inculcate certain habits of flexibility and going outside of the classroom and learning new skill sets, whether it's communication, soft skill, or machine learning, whatever interests you. Okay. This and it sort of brings me to the last point that I would like to make before I want to open things up for a little bit of discussion. So 15 minutes, let's say 5 more minutes and take 10 minutes. So far, I have talked primarily about education, skill, maybe also vocational education in the sense of skill development, and particularly I would again like to emphasize the importance of acquiring skills through this hubs of learning concept. Where, of course, no one college can give you all the skill sets required for today's industry. It cannot really, it will always, I mean, all institutions say that we are trying to make you industry relevant. No single institution can do it, really. And because simply because it does not have the resources. You, even in IIM Calcutta, for instance, we know most of the students are doing something like many of them are also simultaneously doing the chartered accountancy, for instance. Because they need to really show a very strong CV which has multiple skill sets. But despite doing all of these things, chances of getting a secured wage labor, wage form of employment, a job, are dwindling. And both within the domain of the NEP 2020 and particularly in India's skill mission, you see a huge and upcoming importance given to this very critical term today called entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship at the very heart of how social development can be thought of. If all of you are absolutely sure that you are going to end up getting a job, most likely at least some of you will be disappointed. There is also the problem of a large dropout rate in the country. Whether you go out, I mean, as the NEP 2020, you drop out or go out of the system after 1 or 2 years. Maybe you do have a certificate, but that 1 year certificate that maybe you get a piece of paper that you attended 1 year of college, that will not give you too much of a leverage. I mean, the reality is that will not give you too much of a leverage in the job market. So you need to have the kind of skill set, and of course, I'm sure you have also been talking about this. There's speakers today, I think, who are going to talk more about it. But entrepreneurship for many of us seems an impossible thing. Whatever that means, even you need to be born as a Tata or a Birla to be an entrepreneur. That is definitely not the case. Particularly with some of the most booming sectors like the renewable energy sector, the whole idea of sustainability coming into it For instance, how do you replace something like plastic as a packaging material? How do you innovate and come up with something new? It can start at a very, very small scale. And again, if you know anything, capital, I mean, at one time, say 50 years back, people will tell you, oh, I cannot be a businessman because I do not have the capital. Capital may not be the main constraint. Actually, it may not even be much of a constraint because you have multiple opportunities for acquiring capital and not only from traditional sources like the banks, but also from government, various kinds of startup sector, various kinds of incubators that are coming up today. But your main responsibility now is to come up with a viable idea and be open to new experiences. Parents have told you to get jobs in national banks, SBI. Year after year, you can, of course, go on trying, and they are incredibly difficult to get. But why not try something else, even as you are preparing, for these kind of banks with your job? Why not try also in forming a small startup, maybe in the tech sector? There are so many opportunities which are also coming up, but unless you are slightly open, and I would say that those in the commerce stream, generally speaking, and definitely from what I have heard about this college, you are at a much greater advantage because at least the conversations are happening about incubators, about startups, about entrepreneurship, about innovation. Many colleges in Kolkata, otherwise very well-known colleges in commerce, they are not even talking about this. And lastly, you are in Asansol, which is again a locational advantage for all of you. Why a locational advantage? There are many district towns of similar corresponding size, which does not have the kind of developed industrial landscape and historically very important industrial landscape as Asansol. Can you leverage this? Can you actually, not only request but pester your faculty members to have some tie-ups with the local industry? Local industries, again, and this is my own experience, maybe they will agree initially and give you some job where you don't really learn much. But can you then also leverage the local chambers of commerce? Can you ask people in your college boards, the more powerful people, maybe some of them are industrialists themselves, to actually have relations with industry bodies, industry representatives, so that at least some of you can start learning not only this kind of internship to just learn some skill set, but also how to be a better entrepreneur, how to be an innovator. And this is why, of course, it's a long drive from Kolkata and this is a Monday. Just like I came, when you request people, they will come and they would like to share their resources, knowledge, and thought with you. But you also need to go out of your safety zone, your comfort zone, particularly I'm talking about the students, and try to do things which is going to help you in having a sustainable and better future. Just to give one small concrete example. Again, it was a 5 hour car ride, but we had a wonderful, it barely seemed like we were in the car for 5 hours. Wonderful conversation about, for instance, the possibility of developing various kinds of natural fibers. I am slightly more partial to jute because again, I come from older generation, jute was always very important. But now there are so many other different kinds of fibers. Uh, I think banana fiber is one, something that is coming up. Water hyacinth was supposed to be, now it has somehow gone down a bit, but maybe with the right technology it can come up. But really, I mean, it really calls for creativity. The technology is often there. The capital, don't say capital is not there, it's not for me. If it is not for you, Unfortunately, the job market is also not for you. It is as brutal as that. And I don't want to make it any easy for you by sounding, oh, everything is fine, things will be. And 10 years down the line, any political economist will tell you, a lot of my dear friends will tell you, 10 years down the line, things will be even more complicated. So it is a moment both of a lot of anxiety, but if you are sufficiently flexible, if you are sufficiently innovative, and most importantly, if you are open to new experiences, you can also take great advantage. This is more or less what I have to say. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. Thank you. Questions, comments? We have a few. Yes. Louder, please.
आजकल जो पहले जब सरकारी नौकरी ज्यादा था तो उस समय स्किल का चर्चा नहीं होता था और आजकल सरकारी नौकरी में चांसेस कम है तो स्किल का ज्यादा चर्चा नहीं होता इसका कारण क्या
ये है कि हिंदी इज नॉट सो ग्रेट इसके कारण ये है खाली सरकारी नौकरी मत देखिए जनरली जो नौकरी था बैंक और इवन प्राइवेट सेक्टर आईटी सेक्टर most people will do the same job. एक ही काम हर दिन एक ही काम करते मोर एक बार कुछ सीख लिया बस वही चलेगा नेक्स्ट तक. Now jobs are changing rapidly. Even bank, finance technology, fintech, some of you must have been hearing about. The world of fintech इतना जल्दी change हो रहा है because of machine learning and other things. Very difficult to just okay I will sit in my desk and do the same thing for the next 30 years. Not just about government jobs. And government also within government jobs things are changing because government is now increasingly whether national level, West Bengal level, Kerala, Bihar, doesn't matter. They are taking more and more help from technology. E-government has become absolutely commonplace now. So that also means that person who was working in the line, I have a very dear friend who works in the Panchayat department, very senior officer. Now, barely able to open the company. And we joke about it. So I send in an email with some attachment, I have to personally go and also open that attachment. But this won't work. I mean, he is older and is due to retire and things are fine. But all his, even the maybe his staff, the guy who brings tea for him, is now more or less fluid. I see a lot of you, I mean, which is always a problem in my dear colleagues will say, students playing with their phones, which is horrible, but now it's almost we have to deal with it. In a way, it's also good because it makes you proficient with technology. In a way, it's horrible. Don't do it. But in a way, it also makes you very proficient. And these are whether you are paying attention to it or not, it also helps you to learn skills, how to do things on the phone. Because this is what you will be doing, many of these. You also learn about new ideas, a new course. Maybe when you're looking at your Facebook, you know that maybe there is a joint program in marketing offered by 3 universities, online course that you have. So a lot of things are happening, not just simply government jobs are becoming less in now. Technology is significantly changing. And it has always been the case, but at certain points, this change becomes very fast and very disruptive. This is what is happening. Okay.
I just have one question.
Thank you, sir.
I am Arnab Ganguly, I am faculty here. So my question is now, since we have seen that we need lots of different skill sets in order to survive in a job or in particular business or any entrepreneurship development course or whatever it is, we need lots of skill sets. Are we in a type of society where you need to be a jack of all trades but master of none, or is it just that we need these we have one severe major skill set for which we are taking sub skill sets to develop ourselves and survive eventually?
the very important question. I mean, you might say a lot of the debates about, and I'm not just talking about India, this is too global. I mean, forget about just India. So the main question is, when I emphasize, of course, I was talking more to the students, the flexibility. But what about the expert, the person who really knows something? And of course, generally speaking, it is quite difficult to have a vast range of skills and also be expert in it. Generally speaking, it is not possible. So often there is a trade-off. We have to balance one side. To put it like this, at the entry level of job market, I am talking about, and of course, we can even there is no one single job market. I'm talking about, let's say, job market, white collar job markets in manufacturing and services sector in India at this point of time. Many other parts of the world, it will be different. To enter the job market initially, for most students today, it will be more like a set of different skills. Unless, of course, somebody might be absolutely brilliant in one particular skill, but that's more the exception. I will give you an example of this. When I come, I have nothing to do with management, these are the joined I. So very different category, humanity, social science. When I joined, we have to go on this MBA interviews for admission for students, right? So they take the CAT and then they the cutoff and some of them come to this MBA interview. Most of them are engineers and we were trying to change it, but it's very difficult because they do very well in CAT. So chemical engineering maybe have done more or less well from a very, very one of the IITs or a very good NIT or a reputed engineering college. First question I ask, of course, typically, why are you management? They will say, I like to do maybe finance. I mean, I am Calcutta, a lot of finance department is quite well established. But this initially did not make any sense to me. I mean, what about your other expertise? About chemical engineering, about electronic engineering or pharmaceutical engineering? What would happen? You have been to, let's say, Roorkee or IIT Madras, you have learned the skill set. And now finance, of course, 2 years of finance, you will have nothing to do with chemical engineering. Nothing. Except maybe certain skill sets like mathematics or working with some kind of software programming and others. Right. So that you could have also learned just by yourself. You didn't have to go to engineering department. But for this entry level, whether and many of them end up with very high profile, particularly consultancy jobs and other things, a range of skills. So from engineering, they can show certain aspects of engineering, and that's how I'm slowly learned. They will say that, okay, I have learned machine learning, one of the courses, which is good. But I have also done very well in finance. These days, thankfully, a lot of interest in public policy. I am in the public policy department. So I am more or less trying to have a expertise in public finance. And this gives me a lot of opportunities in the consultancy sector, Bain and other companies, the big companies. There's a lot of opportunity, right? But the way I define it is by showing that I have expertise in many. This is maybe at the entry level. This is not just about management graduates. This is also true a lot of engineering graduates or general stream graduates too. But beyond the point, the problem of expertise or being more or less having different kind of skill sets is that after a point you also get stuck. Excuse me. Unless you are able to invest and develop one particular skill really well. It can even be just good interpersonal skills. Lot of things that we talk about leadership. And I always, have this tease my colleagues who teach in the organization behavior group that basically it's a very common sense application of social skills, how to be a nice person really, and have very decent interpersonal skills. But of course, there are principles. I'm not really saying that there are very important principles about conflict resolution and other things. But somebody who has learned even that very well, often through experience, and is an expert in that really helps you. There might be 10 people who are very good with thinking. But the person who is going to be the team leader, who is going to be promoted, often is the person who is an expert, or maybe the other field, the ones who are above them feel that this is the person who is best able to take the team forward. So how we define expertise, that of course, it's somewhat more open. But to really progress in your field, you need expertise. So entry level may be a range of skills, but the problem of having too many different skill sets is that you often get stuck. Up to the mid-management level, mid-manager level, maybe you are because the problem there is that you also are always disposable. Unless you have some very fundamental strength and grip over something, somebody person X might just come and change or replace you. You have to show that I have the skill where I am irreplaceable. And that's when the company really starts valuing. That is maybe a simple answer. Yes. But this is a very important question. I mean, I don't think there is any simple answer to this.
Because most of the people who study engineering, they go and study management. So why we don't have proper engineers?
And it's an absolutely disastrous thing if you look at India's skill, let's say the kind of wealth of skill we have. So much engineering skill completely wasted. So much public funding, our own money, taxpayers, particularly we have to pay the taxes. So much of it because it is being pumped into the IITs rightly. But some of them will, of course, go into research and other things. Very few will go into core engineering, either IT and increasingly now management or even public administration. But you really did not need to be an IAS officer and study computer science. I mean, you could have studied something else. Right?
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Yeah, please, sir.
It's a very nice delivery. I just want to share some experience. In the earlier days, what happens in the companies or other were selecting the students from general stream or other, and they are judging their capabilities in those courses. How much he learn, or he can, he's got some ability and other things. But what happens nowadays is that they are shifting from that kind of selection procedure. So I think that there might be a threat to the general conventional education system. Do you agree with it?
I do agree with.
Because someone who do well in his education, say he's doing 6 hours and he get good marks. In earlier days, he have a value in all sectors because they are telling that we have prepared you for our purpose by providing some training for 1 year or 12 months. So we are observing those kinds of things. And nowadays, what happens? They are trying to select the people who knows some accounts better, or according to their need, they are judging the skills of the students. So by that way, we are definitely putting a threat to the conventional education system. As you are telling that we are producing large number of engineers. So I think that there might be a financial crisis, and it might have some effect in the financial system as well. There's some sort of wasting money to make a good engineer in chemical or other sectors. But what skill he has achieved, he is of no use for the society. I must say.
It is very important because what is happening now is, of course, this is a question difficult to answer if I understood you correctly, because a lot of things are going on. Firstly, of course, the privatization of education, higher education. engineering colleges when I was studying more or less limited. It was very competitive, joint entrance and all. So more or less the market could absorb all the engineers. And of course IT was opening up, so people were going into that. What has happened is that privatization, lots of engineering options. For a long time, there was the aspiration, particularly I think it was also very gendered. All men were supposed to be engineers and all. I think now it has become even, I mean, in the sense it has become even worse because women will also come under a lot of pressure to be engineers or doctors, right? And our generation, it was only the men who suffer, but to get the joint entrance. But what has happened is that the market is flooded. Much more engineers than we really require. Moreover, this has to do with the fact that manufacturing, infrastructure development in a country like India not as highly developed, which means core engineering jobs are not really there. Moreover, even let's say I also sometimes people say this. I mean when you're doing the interview, a very good physics graduate, mathematics graduate coming into math, not really required. Person should have done much better in chemistry or physics. It's a waste. In a way, what we are also looking at is complete wastage of skill. Because physics, core physics knowledge can have its application in so many. Yes. But generally what happens is that R&D, research and development in many Indian companies not so well developed. So a good physics professional can have utilization in many companies, but has to go into management. Somebody has told the person, go into management, and more likely you will get a job. It's a waste, and we often tell the student. And believe me, we really try to discourage them. Don't come, don't read. And actually, one of my colleagues, a very senior, well-known statistician, he has just retired, and he often would like to even motivate because he said, I don't have anything much to ask because what I ask, they won't be able to solve the mathematics. So you just go and ask. So I was asking. But this person had a fantastic record in mathematics. And in the end, finally, my colleague intervened and said, look, I understand you want to do, maybe because of family pressure. Please take my, and if you want, you can take my phone number. I will talk to your parents. Go and get a PhD in mathematics. This is what you are, born for, not getting into management. Because it's also a waste. I mean, I absolutely agree. But the problem in India is that the most developed sector, at least white collar job, is the science. Science sector means something like management broadly defined, right? Where skill sets like a lot of these natural sciences, physics, chemistry, or a lot of engineering skill sets are actually not really required. So you have this pressure to get it. And it's wasting a lot of resources. But what about the students? Any question? What are you thinking about your future? Yes. sorry. Okay.
Actually, as we know after your lecture, I can find out that most of the government jobs today is very minimum. Also in this job, most of the sector government system for India, they are joining as a contractual basis. That is also one of the government jobs. Take the work on contractual basis. And they have not any future.
No future.
No future. तो on this basis जो कैंडिडेट आज हमारे स्टूडेंट हैं कल वो लोग तो वर्कफोर्स में जाएंगे और बहुत सारे ऐसे कैंडिडेट जो प्राइवेट सेक्टर में जाएंगे हम लोग अपने लिए कॉन्सेप्ट लेकर चलते हैं आगे तो सर मेरा क्वेश्चन है कि व्हाट क्वालिटी डज स्टूडेंट नीड टू गेट अ जॉब इन प्राइवेट सेक्टर एंड हाउ कैन we as a teacher help them to develop that quality?
I think, and sorry, मेरा हिंदी उतना अच्छा नहीं है. Very good question. So, some of the qualities most required, as I have already said, to be flexible, not be fixated. I want a government job because again, and this is true for any government institution now, including IIM Calcutta. Previously, all jobs, gardener job, to security guard, to faculty member, all basically secure. Now, everything, most of the jobs, again, Apart from the core skills like a few people in administration and the faculty member, everything outsourced or contractual or kind of contingent. Job can go away. So even if you do, I mean, these days even getting into public sector does not mean much unless you have a, that kind of older permanent job. Most of the people here will be entering some form of the private sector. Private sector, of course, demands certain kind of the most important thing is what they're looking for is discipline. I mean, I see this again for my own institution is often, somebody who is maybe I am a terrible teacher. I teach something horribly good. Fine, I agree. Okay, maybe it's important, that's why I have to ask to teach this, somebody has to do the good. But if I see a person scrolling or playing with the phone, then I say that, okay, it's fine. I mean, I also don't, I'm not going to impose some penalty on you or whatever. Or somebody walks in late, 10 minutes in. It's fine. But problem is, this is a habit that will stay with you. In the board meeting, you will also somebody will go on talking powerful person, you can't ask to shut up. You are also scrolling, looking at Facebook or whatever, you are looking at YouTube or something. This habit will stay. And we know that a lot of this is a complaint about a lot of Indian professionals, they do not have the basics of this. Discipline not just means sitting quietly for 5 hours. Discipline means that when a person is saying something, you show a kind of eagerness, engage with the person, even if you hate the person. Maybe this is also faking things. But sometimes you need to show a certain kind of interest, what the person is saying. Somebody is yawning, somebody is looking at the phone, somebody is chatting. These habits, firstly, need to change. And one thing, as faculty members, you have to say, not that, this is just for the purpose of this class, this is for the purpose of the student's future. Private sector would not tolerate. Government sector at one time, maybe it's fine, you're looking at your phone, nobody, because it's difficult to find words. Private sector, nobody. I don't like this person, I don't want to see him more. It's brutal, but that's how it is. Moreover, I think the one thing that I think as faculty members, you should ask them to do is to really look for other ways of building up their skills. Not just be dependent, of course, the course, content, curriculum, etc. That is absolutely necessary. And this is again for the students, a very important question that Madam has asked. Without your fundamental, if you are a BCom accountancy honors graduate, you don't know some basic principles of accountancy, whether you know machine learning or non-machine learning, nobody is going to be very bothered. Some conversation will start by assuming you know your domain. After that only we need to talk because there are hundreds of graduates like you, and I will pick only one, the best. So I have the luxury of it. So you need to learn what is being taught in class. This sounds very simple, but this is going to again make or break your careers. So listen to your professors. Unfortunately or fortunately, but you have to learn. Otherwise, it's a very brutal labor market that has come. So these are and communication. Ask them just one small thing. This is just a suggestion that in class sometimes you can ask some of the students to make a very short presentation. Not because they are going to say something profound, but even the fact that you have to stand here and talk before 40, 50 people. Public speaking, some kind of public speaking.
Can I have some?
Yes, please.
ये तो आपका क्वेश्चन था इसके लिए आपको हमारा एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप इंटर्नशिप प्रोग्राम में एक बार जब अगर वो इंटर्नशिप कर लेगा तो एमएसएमई का एसएमई से वो इंटर्नशिप करता है ना तो उसको वो पता चल जाता है हाउ कैन एमएसएमई और एसएमई कैन रूल क्या करता है वो तो उसमें जब वो जॉब में जाए और या खुद का लगा है बिजनेस तो उसको आसानी रहेगा हाउ कैन वर्क इन द बिजनेस तो ये अगर हो सके तो दे कैन इंटर्नशिप इज द मोस्ट इजीएस्ट वे नाउ कि उसको क्या करना है इसके लिए तो इजीएस्ट वे इंटर्नशिप आते आता हूँ काफी बेटा तो मेरा opportunity करता है और वापस अभी
So any question from the students? Okay, very quickly and then very quickly.
My question is, the government, whether at the national or state level, have any serious or severe initiative for the skill development of students whenever they got interested in the broader job world?
They are doing, I mean, there is now a lot of public policy initiatives. Like, for instance, a lot of the skill development has focused on existing, like, for instance, the ITIs and polytechnics. One small thing, since there are many senior faculty members present here, one thing I spoke briefly about the hubs of learning. Now, in West Bengal, it is happening. But in my opinion, there is one slight problem with the current thing because it has only general degree colleges, technology colleges, and other things, but does not involve the ITIs and polytechnic colleges. I think even informally, I'm sure also there will be an ITI and polytechnic colleges. Certain domain knowledge, and then you have to also see where you can kind of, maybe have some kind of collaboration. If it is possible, it's not just because you will be beneficial, because they often have much better connection to the industry. It's internships. It is really good, but sometimes very difficult to arrange. For particularly for general students. Because companies will say, why would I want to, I mean, I don't have any time. It is somewhat easier if you go through a network of different colleges like polytechnics, ITI. Even informally, try to involve them. Okay, lot of initiative now, lot of money also is there in developing skill for this. And even the hubs of learning, so that there is a what we call a cross-fertilization of skill. That's the whole idea of this hub. Any question from students?
Sir, my question is this, that due to technological advancement, there are large number of job opportunities. There are large number of job opportunities, but how such students select a particular skill that will be beneficial to them?
Okay. Shall we just take 2, 3 questions together? Next.
न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में स्टूडेंट्स को क्या बेनिफिट मिलेगा
कौन स्टूडेंट्स को किस तरह
डिसएडवांटेज
ओके नेक्स्ट यू वांट well raise their hands okay so very quickly first question really about what kind of skills. The answer is very simple. There is no one particular skill. There is no one single solution that I can give you. Definitely, if you are coming from a commerce background, things like marketing, I mean, and I'm assuming, let's say you won't go on to do higher education after this, like chartered accountant, that's a different trajectory. But for entering the job market, things like marketing would be very beneficial. Things like, again, as I said, maybe risk analysis or some kind of application of internet, IPES technologies in the finance sector would be immediately beneficial. Definitely, marketing is seeing a boom, and a good interconnection between commerce background and marketing might be very beneficial. Coming back to the question about this is a very significant question. Actually, I won't say it's just the NEP 2020, but a lot of public policy and thankfully public policy visions in Indian education is trying to bring categories of students who have often been historically marginalized, maybe students with disabilities or coming from underdeveloped regions, women in a big way into the categories of skill and productive labor. For instance, most educational institutions need to have also today the infrastructure where students with various kinds of disabilities will find it easy to be in class and to take advantage of general education. More and more, I mean, there is a NAC and other accreditations who are insisting on having the right infrastructure, because a person cannot even climb the stairs to come to class. What good is the college or the university? So even that kind of physical, infrastructure, but also a lot of various companies, for instance, a lot of companies which offer what we today call the environmental and social corporate governance (ESG) is talking about how companies can have inclusive policies where a lot of people from backgrounds such as those with disabilities can be integrated. One actual concrete examples speak louder than this talks. I was recently, I was invited. I went to the Lalit Great Eastern Hotel in Kolkata, and I didn't know about this particular aspect of their policy. They were extremely, and very seldom seen such inclusive policies, including and the training and learning general manager took me and showed me a very large number of people with various kinds of disabilities, different types of disabilities, maybe hearing or sight or problems of walking. They like took them on. They were coming from various vocational education courses. Maybe some of them had skills in baking and other things, and gave them further training and have incorporated. Definitely, this hotel is not an exception. It is doing very good work, but there are many other industries which are also trying to reach out and include different types of workers. Okay, so lot needs to be done. I'm not saying this is the perfect picture, but things are also happening. And some of them also mentioned in the NP 2020 that how you need to, all the educational institutions need to make a concerted effort to bring people, like including those with disabilities, within the starting with the physical infrastructure, stairs and access to classrooms. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. If you have any queries, then we can give the queries to the sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for delivering such an interactive address. Dr. Manchu not only assessed about skill sets and their relevance in contemporary India, and also stated the importance of Asansol as a special unit for leveraging or transforming as young budding entrepreneurs. I would also like to tell Dr. Moitro that Department of Commerce and along with that Shabulam, we are also in collaboration with ITI colleges in Asansol, and many times like seminars that are held, we even have resource persons for them. So rightfully your suggestions are being taken. So thank you for that as well. Now may I please request Dr. Shantanu Mullik to deliver the vote of thanks for this session and close the session. Once the vote of thanks is delivered, I would request the audience to wait for a while to just get a few instructions about the upcoming sessions. Dr. Mullik, please.
Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. It is indeed a privilege for me to deliver the vote of thanks for the inaugural session of the ICSSR sponsored national seminar on the transforming education and empowering entrepreneurs. NEP 20, the impact of NEP 2020 on vocational and conventional learning in India. First of all, I'd like to thank our principal sir for his immense support and guidance to conduct such a seminar for the students, for the researchers, for the faculty members, and I also thank our keynote speaker, Professor Sulkat Mehta sir in IIM Calcutta, and also thanks other dignitaries who we are waiting for the listening them in the next session, Dr. Nilanjan Ray and Ms. Shobita Sen. They will speak on different topics in the next sessions. And I would like to say thanks to the students for their patience hearing And I hope these patients will continue in the next sessions because after lunch it is difficult to continue, but we hope we will continue. So I'm not taking much time. So now that up to this the session is over, now lunch is waiting, but few instructions will be given after that. This is the session. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Murli. We shall now break for lunch. After lunch, please listen to this carefully. After lunch, I would request the participants who are delivering oral presentation to go to room number 107. I'm sorry, to go to room number 110. 110 for the registered participants. And I would request all the registered participants to go to the boys' hostel. We have volunteers who would assist you in the process for the lunch. And I would request all our dear students to assemble in room number 107. That is the room just opposite to this room for your lunch. And we will request each and everybody to assemble back to their respective rooms by 2:10 p.m. I repeat, by 2:10. Okay, thank you everyone.
আচ্ছা শোনো বলছি যে এদের পার্টিসিপেন্টসদের কোন ঘরে হবে এখানে হবে প্যারালাল হবে তাদের রেকর্ডিং কি করে
Hello. Okay. One minute.